Welcome back, and joining us now is Sachin Jain from World Gold Council. Sachin, hi, with one slash in import duty from a 15 to 6%, government ensured that all that distorted duty structure that was in India is taken care of.
Thanks, Manisha. Thanks for getting me on. And you're absolutely spot on. It's truly a transformative moment for the gold business in India. And the steps that government has taken is really in the direction of what we call as Viksit Bharat, is in the direction of digital India, transparency, and bringing inclusivity, where everybody who's following the rules of the game and doing things well, get garnered with a lot of interest. So it's a phenomenal step. It's a great transformative stage in which Indian gold industry will go through, and a huge welcome.
Sachin, the other thing that the industry is now awaiting is the GST Council meeting and an expectation that with the duty cut now, the next thing that would happen is a GST increase in gold. How are you looking at this balance and the conversation?
Manisha, if you go back in time, when the GST, was decided for our sector, it wasn't done by a drop of a hat. And I again duly respect the system that was formed at that point in time. The council was made. There were a lot of discussions, and discussions panned out over a year as to what it meant for gold, what it meant for diamonds, what it meant for the industry at large. And even at that point, the government didn't take an ad hoc decision. And I'm presuming the same system or the policy will be followed. So I don't foresee these things are immediately connected, and we are really anticipating a little quick decision on it. But I don't think it's going to be the case. It's going to be duly thought of. The custom duty reduction is a very important step if you see fundamentally eradicating the malpractices that are happening in the business. There was a whole difference of competitiveness that India had vis-a-vis some other nations. I think it's a very important step for that thing, and I think we should recognize this whole big step and the contention that the Indian government has taken.
Absolutely. Sachin, so, a couple of things then. One, for consumers, clearly it is a big buying opportunity. But if consumers bought it in the last week or last month, it clearly is that decline in their holding on what they bought. But for the jewelers, and not all of them hedge as much. I've been speaking to a lot of jewelers. Some are 30% hedged, some are 70% hedged as well. So there is a one-time hit that the markets will look into this one.
Well, actually, Manisha, that's always been the sort of rule of the game, or sort of, how it happens. The fact is that when the custom duty has gone upwards, also the benefit is received by the industry at large. But yes, somebody is holding stock, and as you rightly said, a lot of part of the industry is working on hedged gold. The other part is invested gold, and yes, there'll be a loss. However, if you see in mid to long term, and I've been in touch with most of the big jewelers as well, the fact is what it'll create is the fundamentals of the business will transform, in the sense that if you just look at slightly deeply, the last quarter, particularly post Akshaya Tritiya, the jewelry industry has, it's been a very tough last 45 days to 50 days for the entire industry. On one hand, you had, of course, a dull time, but also on the other hand, very high prices of gold. Now, with this, what it does is it truly, in a right space, brings quality in the Indian pricing vis-a-vis the international pricing, and gives a big stir to the demand that will be generated by the end client. And I'm not talking about people who are playing with the paper, but the true, genuine Indian consumer who's investing, buying gold, you will be out there. And we foresee that the next quarter, which is going to be largely B2B, and preparation for the festive will be strong. And we hopefully believe that quarter four, calendar quarter four, from Indian consumption point of view, will be a very, very strong quarter.
That's exactly what my next question was, Sachin. So what is the kind of demand jump that you're seeing? I mean, as you said, B2B, yes, IIJS is what you're referring to. And then we will also see the wedding and the festival seasons begin in the month of August. So until now, people anticipated higher value and perhaps not so much in sense of volume. But as you said, both of these perhaps could go hand in hand now with this correction in gold prices. So is there any percentage increase that you anticipate from the second half of last year?
So from my perspective, Manisha, we had anticipated that the consumption of gold in the year 2024 as calendar year would be in the range of 700 to 800. Now, that's quite a wide range. But why we gave that range was that if there is, let's say, a dramatic increase or up and down on pricing, then it could be towards the lower spectrum. And if things are slightly more stable and slightly more proactive, then it would be on the upper end of the spectrum. Now, clearly with this step, if you look at what happened in the last quarter, where demand for investment products like coins and bars was the highest ever. And next week we'll be able to share with you more specific numbers, but those numbers are dramatic. Whereas on the other hand, the jewelry demand was very low. I mean, it had dropped dramatically also as a combined with the season and the pricing. We feel that the interest in the investment demand will continue, whereas the consumption for jewelry, which was very slow and almost declining, will spur up. So combine both of these things, we foresee that it's going to be strong, and hence we will cover up the drop that we witnessed in Q2 of this year, and eventually ending up at a good space if you take the overall year average.
All right, on that high, thank you so much, Sachin, for joining us. So absolutely a thumbs up when it comes to jewelry as a sector, and for the consumers as well, with the kind of decline that we've seen in gold and silver prices overnight has been 4 to 5% of a cut, and that exactly is what you benefit from in case you're buying that jewelry pieces today. But with that, it's a wrap on Halftime Report. Business Lunch will take all the action forward.